the October 7th Commissioners meeting into order. All three commissioners are present at this time. Please stand. Commissioner Bardsley will lead us in prayer. Commissioner Wright will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Prior to prayer, this is the year anniversary of the attack on Israel. Ask for a moment of silence, not only for the reflections that are going on in the Middle East, but for those that are in recovery mode in the Carolinas and in the southeast. If you would offer up a moment of silent prayer for them as well. Lord God, maker of heaven and earth, God and Father of us all, we pray for the peace of Jerusalem this day. We pray for the peace of Israel. We pray that conflict would cease and that the nations would begin to work together. And we know that that can only come about as a part of your authority and your power, your work. We pray that your kingdom would come, your will be done. We also ask, Father, this day for those that are dealing with recovery, those that are dealing with great loss, those that have given up lives and are broken. We pray for your spirit and your peace to overflow them as well and continue to help our communities as they go through this time. And Father, even now another storm is approaching Florida, and we ask for safety and protection for those that are having to evacuate. For our community today, we pray as well, Father, that you will give us grace, direction, strength to continue to serve you and to be a blessing to our fellow men and women. We thank you for that. Give us wisdom this day as we do the business of the community and help us to walk hand in hand with you. So I pray it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I am going to make a slight adjustment to the agenda due to some unforeseen circumstances. I need to move under new business number 2, 3, and 4 up before the approval of claims, minutes, and payroll. So we'll do that now. Mr. Sullivan, are you on the line?
Yes, Mr. President, I am here. Can you hear me?
We can. Yes, sir.
Good. I apologize for not being there.
That's okay.
Sorry. I apologize for not being there. The first item, Commissioner, I believe is the amendment for the contract for design architecture services for Grant County, and I use this term softly. It's not inferring that there is a new jail building or anything, but it's the services for the Grant County Jail project. And I know that can mean a variety of different things. And I know the scoping agreement is on the agenda today too. So I just want to make sure that nothing's misinterpreted by that. Previously, I think it was August 5th, Grant County entered into a design contract with RQAW to provide those services to design the eventual project, whatever that may be. At the time, there was some questions and concerns about the fee that Grant County would be having to pay up front. And there's two parts today: the amendment, which will handle the fee, and then the ultimate assignment, which will put this under the BOT developer, which is BW Construction. So today, for what we need first is the amendment, and that will amend the original contract and take out I think it was a $1.5 million scoping fee, and the only thing that RQAW would be reimbursed for are the reimbursable expenses, which are outlined in the contract, and that includes for anything such as permits or any hard costs that they may incur while going through the scoping period. That does not include overhead, profit, or anything like that. And I think the scoping agreement actually you'll later talk about outlines that maximum of $50,000 or something like that. So today, before the commissioners, if you would not mind approving the amendment to the original design and architectural services for the Grant County Jail project. And with that, I'll take any questions, comments, or concerns about the amendment.
Gentlemen, do you have any concerns or questions?
It's been laid and explained fairly well, so.
Anybody from the public? Mr. Pulling?
Yes. Chuck Coleman, Councilman. What if we break this agreement? What's the dollar amount? And say we don't want to go through with it?
So you're saying once we enter into it,
Yeah, this is still 1.5 million if we break it.
well, so that contract basically is what we're rescinding right now.
Right?
Yeah.
Then they'll come back with a new one.
And then right after that, we're going to assign the BW contract, and that's the one that says, so basically and Connor.
And Mr. President, I can handle that if you'd like, sir. Mr. Pulling, if I understood you right, that the concern was the 1.5 million originally as part of the design agreement. So why I'm having you guys amend it first so that you remove that $1.5 million fee and you bring it down to only the reimbursable expenses that they may incur. And I'm looking at the scoping agreement now, and I think it talks about $50,000. I think that's the right one. I think BW might be there. If they do, they might know exactly. But it's removing that $1.5 million number and only putting it so the project. They would be they would only be allowed to be reimbursed for, like I said, actually incurred expenses. Again, no overhead, no profit, none of that other stuff. Just expenses that they would incur while they're working through this part of the project, as approved by the review committee. So if the review committee says, hey, we want you to look at this option, and they have to incur some cost for, say, soil borings or an environmental phase one, or I'm just using these examples, or to file a permit, there's a fee to that. Those are the expenses that they would then be reimbursed for. And so it gets it more in line, Mr. Pulling, with what was discussed at a previous meeting. And why that's important is you want to get this contract amended in right now prior to assigning it, so that you make sure that the contract that you're assigning to BW is the reimbursable for only incurred expenses and not the $1.5 million. Does that answer your question, Mr. Pulling?
Yes, but one more question.
Yes, sir.
If we want to break the agreement, not with DW, but with RQAW, what is that going to cost us?
And you would, the exact dollar amount, sir, I do not know. It would only be for the expenses incurred. And again, they won't move forward with any work unless you give it something in writing. And it doesn't have to be some kind of formal, some formal memorandum. It could be something from the review committee in an email saying, hey, we'd like you to explore these options. The BW and RQAW can outline what those expenses would be at that point. So the review committee can make an informed decision if they would like to move forward with that. And I know that the review committee has met a few times, Mr. Pulling. I think you might have been involved in some of those conversations too. But they would be keeping you in line or informed every step of the way of what those expenses are that they would be incurring. Is how I would see it, sir.
Okay, can we get both of those in writing that's all it is the time they got involved?
Well, so this amendment, sir, is outlining that in the original contract, under Article 11 of it, I think it's sections 11.81, 11.82, or 11.8.2, 11.10.2.3. Those are the ones that outline the $1.5 million fee, and the rest of them again are if they have to do several drives up, mileage, permitting fees. So all that stuff is outlined in the original contract, sir, that talks about what those reimbursable expenses could be.
Okay, then you just take out the 1.5.
Yeah, the 1.5 is going to be taken out by this amendment.
That's basically what we're doing, Connor, is we're amending the contract to take out that 1.5.
That is correct, sir.
Bo on it?
Okay, I
Mr.
think,
Boyd, does that answer your?
yeah, I think Mr. Wright cleared it up. It's good. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, sir. All right. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the RQAW amendment.
I will move to approve that as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Bardsley, second by Commissioner Wright to approve the RQAW agreement amendment. If there's no other questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is approved.
Thank you,
Connor,
Mr. President.
Number 3 is RQAW agreement assignment.
Yes, sir. And so just to kind of reiterate why it's important, you want to make sure you're assigning the correct responsibilities, authorities, and obligations under the contract to BW. And that's why you wanted to amend it first to make sure you remove that $1.5 million obligation that is Grant County's. And so that's no longer part of the contract. So the way RQAW set up the initial design and architectural services contract, it did consider that this contract would ultimately be assigned from the owner, which is Grant County, to the eventual BOT developer, which is BW. So all you are doing is exercising your rights in section 10.3 of the original contract and assigning all rights, obligations, responsibilities, and duties that Grant County had in the original contract and the amendment to the BOT developer. The nice part about the BOT is, unlike other construction projects where you have a construction manager, engineers, designers, whatever it is, the county has to manage all those contracts. The BOT makes it one throat to choke, and that will be BW. So if the design team's messing up, you don't have to worry about chasing down who's responsible. You just go to BW and say, "Hey, what the heck's going on?" They'll fix it for you. I've worked with BW on several projects, and I can't say enough good things about them and their ability to get things done efficiently, not just time wise, but also from a financial standpoint. They're working on I think it's an $80-something million project down in Hamilton County, and with how many moving parts are, it's been spectacular to be a good partner with them. So I think Grant County is in good hands. But all this assignment is doing is invoking a right that you were already given with the original contract.
So to sum it up, Connor, instead of us dealing with
That
RQAW, this allows us to deal with BW, who will be dealing with RQAW.
is correct. That is correct, Mr. President. And that to that point too, that doesn't mean you won't have a direct line of communication to say
Right.
what you want the project to ultimately look like. It's just you get to still do all the fun stuff. You get to tell them what the project looks like, all that stuff. Just the stuff that, probably, and honestly, it's probably going to save Justin quite a bit of time. You don't have to worry about the administrative side of it and the stuff that's maybe not as glamorous and stuff. So it makes it more efficient for Grant County. And quite frankly, like I said, I think it's going to save Justin quite a bit of time in the long run too.
And to be transparent, Connor, this is not a contract to build any kind of a jail. This is simply a scope.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Basically, give us our options.
You are correct, sir.
Okay. Bill Galvin is here with BW. Mr. Galvin?
I'll say before I say, if you don't mind, because I know the scoping agreement's next.
Yep.
If BW has any input, that's great too. But I just want to make sure you do approve the assignment so that it can move on out from under your plate. But if BW may have comments too, I just want to make sure we get both the amendment and the assignment taken care of.
Yeah, I just wanted to introduce Mr. Galvin in case Commissioner Bardsley or
Perfect.
Commissioner Wright has any questions.
Thank you, sir.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
It is. It is.
I'm good.
Are you good in the form of a motion, or are you just?
A motion, sir, that if you don't mind, sir.
The attorney wants a motion.
That's right. Heard that.
We're trying to get you to your tea time, Connor.
I wish I had a tea time today.
Mr. President, I would move that we proceed with the assignment of the contract for design and architecture services and First Amendment for the Grant County Jail project. As presented.
I think that covers it all. I would second that.
Motion by Commissioner Wright with a second by Commissioner Bardsley to approve the RQAW agreement assignment. Any other questions or concerns?
Just a comment before we vote. This whole concept of the build, operate, transfer has helped us jump light years ahead in getting things done, and it is a positive thing. Glad that the state made that an option for us.
Yes.
We are continuing to save money by doing it this way instead of seeing change orders all the time. And
Right.
I like where it's going, so it'll be beneficial for us in the future.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Connor, can you stick around real quick? Maybe
Yes.
talk about this scoping agreement with BW.
Yeah, I absolutely. And the one part I will not be able to provide an educated response on is the dollar amount. I know that you guys have had meetings with the review committee, and so that you guys may be more familiar with the dollar amount. But the way I would look at this and to summarize it quickly is that the scoping agreement is a professional service agreement. That you are receiving a service from the BOT developer, the BOT developer. They are going to help you navigate through this with the RQAW and any other sub that may have to be brought on. It looks like the phase one, they were going to look at the juvenile D home and make recommendations for additional beds and how to make that work most efficiently for Grant County. And so outside of the dollar amount, which I have not been involved in that conversation, the contract itself is a standard professional service agreement. From a legal standpoint, I don't have any issues with any of the terms that would come up, how compliance, identification, the insurance requirements are outlined. I think it is important that BW provides you their COI upon the execution of this document. Obviously, it's a big project. You want to make sure the right insurance amounts are there and the insurance amounts are covered adequately in your insurance requirements here. I have no issues with it, Mr. President. Like I said, it's very standard, no heartburn whatsoever.
Okay, thank you. So the contract, Connor, just for your information, phase one compensation for phase one is a lump sum of $50,000, and that will be coming from ARPA money. And we'll talk about it in a few minutes. Mr. Poling, is that the way you understand it as well, sir? Yeah, it's 50,000, and we're going to do some ARPA discussion here in a minute, but the 50,000 will be coming from ARPA.
And the other thing, Mr. President, too, the nice part about the contract, if there are, again, it's one of those things that I know with some of the conversations I've been a part of, if you guys were to have them say, hey, we don't want to look at option A anymore, we've got option B, it does provide you the flexibility that they won't start incurring expenses without you guys saying, hey, no, we want to amend the scope or add this or minus that. So it does give you guys, it does put you guys firmly in the driver's seat for that. And so I think that's something that, again, this is a new procurement method. I know we did one with the boiler and chiller, and that one went extremely well too, but this is a massive project. So that it makes sure that you guys are in the driver's seat, making sure you're making the informed decisions as you go. And so you can essentially, kind of a football reference, you can call audibles as you see fit. That's all determined and based on what the county wants and needs. So I feel comfortable with that, sir.
Okay. And again, just to reiterate, I just want to be fully transparent. This is no contract to build a jail. It's just simply a contract to get us our options, what we can and can't do.
It provides you, it goes through this, it gets you through this part of the scoping period to say what is the best option for Grant County. It allows the elected officials to make that educated and informed decision. Like you said, Mr. President, it doesn't mean you're building a new jail, doesn't mean you're building a new courthouse, none of that stuff. Like I said, you were just exploring the options to see how Grant County can best resolve their issue. So you are 100% correct, Mr. President. It doesn't set in motion any new jail or anything like that. You're just exploring the options.
Okay. Gentlemen, do you have any questions for either Mr. Galvin or Connor at this time?
I do not.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the scoping agreement by VW.
Mr. President, I would move that we pass the agreement for professionals.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Yes, sir.
So everybody knows, this has been reviewed by Connor. However, we did send it over to our county attorney, Mr. Persinger. He has not gotten back with us yet, so this approval will be pending legal approval.
That motion will be that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. So I would move that we pass this agreement for professional services for VW Construction with the approval of our county attorney after he takes a look at it. If there's anything within that he feels that we need to go back to the drawing board, we will do that. But this just kind of gives a pre-approval if we get a positive comment back from our local attorney.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Wright to approve the scoping agreement with VW pending our county attorney's approval, and a second by Commissioner Bardsley. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Mr. Sullivan, I think we're all done with you, sir.
Thank you, guys and gentlemen. I apologize for not being there. I will see you at the next meeting, okay?
All righty, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bill, for coming. I know you didn't get to say a whole lot, but I think you're probably okay with that. All right, thanks again. All right, so we will jump back up to the top of the agenda with the approval of claims, minutes, payroll. We'll do that right now. Pre-approval was given on 9/21/2024 by myself for claims dated 9/23/2024. General amount, $111,672.49. Other was $68,569.92. Highway Department was $932,569.71 for a grand total of $1,112,812.12. Again, pre-approval was already given, so I'm just looking to ratify that, please.
I'm happy to move on the ratification of pre-approvals for the 23rd and the 30th.
Can we do that all at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. Pre-approval was given by myself on 9/21. Mr. Wright give approval on 9/27/2024. So the general amount for that, $180,626.25. Other, $183,574.67. Highway Department, $1,153,877.45 for a grand total of $1,518,078.37. And again, pre-approval was given by Mr. Wright on 9/27/2024. Have a motion by Commissioner Bardsley to approve pre-approvals.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Wright. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have claims dated for today, Monday, October 7th, 2024, that needs approved. General Fund, $183,769.73. Other was $30,999.84. Highway Department, $117,484.17 for a grand total of $332,253.74.
Mr. President, I move to approve the October 7th invoice edit reports as presented.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Bardsley with a second by Commissioner Wright to approve claims dated for 10/7/2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We will move on to payroll number 20. Pre-approval was given on 9/24/2024 for pay dated 9/27/2024. Gross amount was $627,837.14. Since we know we don't discuss payroll, I will entertain a motion.
Move to ratify the pre-approval on payroll number 20 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Bardsley with a second by Commissioner Wright to ratify pre-approval given on 9/24/2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have minutes to approve, gentlemen. I can find them.
After we've all gone through them, I move to approve the September 3rd minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Bardsley, second by Commissioner Wright to approve minutes for September 3rd, 2024. Hearing no questions or discussions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we have the monthly report, the clerk of Grant County Circuit Superior Courts. We will show that as received. Any questions? All right, we will move on to communications and board updates. Madam Auditor, do you have anything for the good of the order?
I do not.
All right. Perfect, thank you. I see Mr. Jackson back there.
Morning.
Morning.
I would be remiss if I didn't start with a reminder that this is National Fire Prevention Week. A little homework for everyone. Please, when you return home today, check your smoke detectors. It's time to change your batteries. We did have a fatality in the county just this week, fire related. So, stark reminder to take that very seriously. Addition to that, we are watching the weather again. We did have a little reprieve from the rain a couple weeks ago, but we're right back into a dry spell and no rain in sight for the next 10 days. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that. We did issue an advisory yesterday just because of the wind and dry conditions together. So we'll, there again, day by day, we'll keep an eye on that. Let you know. And I think we still have pre-approval if we do need to put a ban on it.
Oh, my grass to quit growing.
That is the upside.
Right, it's like, whoa.
Everything else seems to be doing pretty well in the county this morning, so be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Everything go okay with the festivals?
They did. A little concerned with the weather. On Friday night, we were very busy throughout the county with numerous trees down, roads blocked, lines down. Sheriff's Department was pretty busy with their stuff. I'll let the sheriff tell you about that. But all in all, went well.
Do we have any Indiana elements down in the southeast? Have they-
So Task Force 1, I believe, is still deployed. And of course, now we're looking down the barrel of another storm. My daughter is evacuating as we speak. So, I think they're probably going to remain there or maybe do a rotate. They have like a secondary crew that they'll rotate out. But Task Force 1 will remain in that area for some time. Anything else?
Anything else from Mr. Jackson?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry about that.
Mr. Hicks, do you have anything or are you? Okay. And Mayor Rock, thank you for joining us this morning. Do you have anything for the good of the order or?
I'm here representing or getting support of 1812 Anthony Dent.
Might be a good time to bring him
We're
in.
going to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah,
Morning, everyone.
morning.
Last time I was here, we were in a lot different situation than we are today. So a lot's developed. I'm not sure if you've heard, but we have acquired property and are already hard at work. So we're bringing the event back for 2025 and much greater potential than we've ever had. So it's going to be really great news. But wanted to come before you to formally speak on the idea of gaining access to the approximate 65 acres or so between our new property and Garthwaite. Could be extremely helpful for traffic flow, potential emergency management access, et cetera. It would just greaten our event and to be able to have some access to Garthwaite as well. Future potential dreams, things like a small kind of museum front building. To have volunteers man that, we wouldn't want them way back in the boonies. It's not safe. So being able to get along Garthwaite, even way down the road, or even something like a little interpretive center or something, just the potential is crazy. So I wanted to come check on that.
Well, thank you for all your work on everything you're doing. And
So I'll speak to this just a little bit. I have been talking with Mayor Rock and we have 60 some acres out in front, right on Garthwaite Road. One of the big factors that they have been fighting for years and years and years, probably since you did this and your crowd just kept on growing, you kind of only had one in and one out area, right, to get traffic in and traffic out. This would actually create a U, I believe, we'll get the engineer kind of involved with this as well, that would really alleviate a lot of traffic issues for big crowds like that to come in. As well as give them the frontage on the road that would be very, very valuable for them to have this event. My understanding, I believe, Mr. Sakoff, we are actually in a contract for a farmer who farms that for us. And it's not all the acreage, but some of the acreage there. And we have that contract until the end of 2025, is that correct?
that's correct.
So that's a little bit of a caveat that I kind of wasn't aware of before we really started doing a lot of discussion and stuff. So we need to kind of take a look at that and see what that looks like.
That would be of no concern of ours.
There's no sense of urgency.
No, I mean, the way that there's an established road there already, and most likely from me thinking on and dreaming on it, we use that, what's already established, which goes around to the farm anyhow, the tillable acreage. And then be able to cut over Walnut Creek and over the railroad indoor parking, and potentially circular traffic out on Tulip. So it helped the neighbors on Tulip as well. They're obviously not very happy. So if they knew that it was just one-way exit traffic, that would help them too. But I'm no big deal or concern of ours of needing that tillable acreage now or maybe even ever. So.
Anything else?
And probably since, we got the mayor of Gas City here, we probably ought to let him have a few minutes to talk. And then I'd like to talk, listen to what Jason has to say about how important this is for that piece of property.
Sure.
Mayor?
And I do promise I'll keep this short. Basically, what we're trying to do is do what Anthony just said, keep the traffic flow down to where you have an entrance and an exit. We would like to, of course, Tulip Drive, widen it so that when they come through. But one of the things when we met with Anthony at 1812 was the fact that we would like to see something annually for field trips for schools to come and be educated, kind of like the Conner Prairie in Carmel, as opposed to just using it for the 3-day event of 1812 only. There's so much more usage that can be used out of it. And I know, even looking at the tillable area, I don't think that was ever something that they would probably need now or in the future, but the area that isn't, that is just kind of there, that really the the county hasn't used would be very valuable to them, also to the county for bringing in tourism throughout the state to visit not only 1812, but also I think that in their plans, a field trips for a settlers village, an Indian village, just different things that is historical. And as we tracked it, or Anthony tracked it, they did come down the Mississippi River. And so that portion there, they did stay on, so it would have a little bit of history from the 1812. So it's not just like we're moving it from 1812, because actually even where they had it out at Jalapa wasn't the actual battleground either. And somebody mentioned, I said, you know what, we can always take Chief Mishinga and move him to Gas City. We don't really care, you know, and make it a little more memorable. But no, it's just basically trying to get that dead property that the county doesn't use. I'm sure they would be happy to have it plotted off to where you guys could continue to use the farm ground to, you know, bring in money for the county there too. So that's all I got. But I'm sure the engineer will have a lot more valuable input than I do. So I'll just let Jason come in.
One small idea for the tillable acreage, that we actually like tillable acreage because all of our parking lots at our former site was tillable acreage and it was grasses. So I'm not sure, that could be a nice place for parking, even for shuttle parking. I don't know if the farmer does do grasses at all or would be willing to do that, but that's just an idea. Again, nothing that's like a contingency by any means, but could actually, if he's willing to switch to grass and keep that going, have access to that, and we could then shuttle parking off of that grass as well, because the cuttings would be done by October. So just as some more, I don't know, assurance that that's actually of value to us too, as tillable acreage. So.
Good morning, Jason Miller, City Engineer in Gas City. So this idea came about for some of the concerns from the neighboring residents on Tulip Drive. It's something that we had been working on from the inception of the idea of this, the 1812 property that has been acquired was traffic flow. As a traffic engineer, I look at these types of things and we evaluate not only the public, but also emergency vehicles. The idea came about to create, as Commissioner Wright mentioned, a loop for one way in, one way out. It would then bring traffic entering off of the property that you guys currently own through that driveway. We are in discussions with the railroad to cross the railroad property and gain access to 1812's property. Then an idea would be to either use Tulip Drive or to cross back out through a separate access that then would avoid Tulip Drive altogether. Those plans are still in discussions and reviewing the engineering and feasibility of that. Obviously, part of that would be financial. But the goal would be to separate potentially even exhibitors and participant access separate from the public, similar to what is done now. There is a separate access from the north that everybody uses. And all of these ideas are being evaluated, but we don't want to move too far ahead with, you know, voluntary financial matters until we know that the commissioners are willing to transfer that property. One of the things that Anthony and I were discussing is in the event that you are in favor of transferring this property now, 1812 and their organization would honor that prior contract for all of 2025, and any funds that would be previously agreed to would then just be transferred directly to the county per that prior agreement. You know, there is a lot of plans for, in the event that they do get that property, what would be done. As Anthony mentioned, parking. He also mentioned, you know, an interpretive center or some type of investment for a building that would be facing Garthwaite Road. You know, the sky's the limit. We have a lot of ideas, a lot of potential, but right now, without having site control, that's what we're trying to resolve at this point. And be glad to answer other questions that you may have as it relates to, you know, traffic or utilities or anything along those lines, or anything that you can think of.
Also give us an area on Garthwaite for appropriate signage too, which will help traffic flow in itself.
And we're trying to meet the needs and concerns of the residents along Tulip Drive. It is a street that can be used, but we don't want to overburden the people along Tulip or in that area, similarly to where the site was last year. There was always an issue with traffic. We're trying to alleviate that with a blank slate of, literally a blank slate of property that can be used to create an ideal situation, not just for traffic, but for all aspects. And there's a lot of people that come to that event. We want to make sure it's a positive experience, not just for 1812 and the participants, but also the county as a whole.
Even the 3-day event of 1812, even if we need to use Tulip for one-way exit, every other event that we ever do out there being open to the community, we would never use Tulip. So it would be, primary from that,
So there's a railroad track that we got to get across.
Sure.
And so that's one of the things that is being discussed right now. But, my thinking is we're not receiving any tax revenue on it now because we own it. So it's not like we're giving up taxpayers' money.
Right.
And this would be a great thing for our community and a lot of people who use that.
Absolutely.
A lot of the not-for-profits and organizations and stuff and all the booths that they do out there, it's a huge fundraiser for them. And to provide that service, and hats off to Mayor Rock for seizing the moment and making sure that it didn't go away. That's a good thing. So, me personally, I think it's a great thing. I think what we would need to do at this point is have our attorney take a look at how we want to designate the property. And maybe Mr. Miller could work with Mr. Persinger and come up with something and at our next meeting, go ahead and take action.
Sure, yeah, we'd be happy to. And again, reiterate for the record, if you do want to transfer that in 2024, we would assign any rights that you currently have for monies that would pass directly to you at 100%.
Okay.
And I'd be more than happy to work with Mr. Persinger on ratifying that document that you guys would then be comfortable for.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Yeah, I'm very supportive.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mr. Poling, you got anything from the council or anything for the good of the order?
Well, just a deal there, you were just talking about 60 acres. You're just building a building, you need an access road. Why do you need so much? You got what, 230 acres?
Yeah, so, the big thing is needing to figure out how to get a road cut in, where to get it cut over. Having
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying you got 230 acres and you can't have your own parking lot. We can't just give you access for a road.
we're gonna have 23 acres of parking on the south end of the property. As beautiful and potential filled as that property is, lots of the acreage is water that we just can't use. We use it as a feature. Then the other part of the acreage is going to take a lot of work to rehab to get out of the old IMI state of concrete dumping and washout, et cetera. So right now we are a little bit choked even though it said 220 acres sounds massive, we're choked by water and choked by time on getting conversion of the old IMI state to be more useful.
And if I could comment a little bit too, as they mentioned there, you're making nothing on it right now. What this is going to do, Chuck, is bring in more tourism to the county, which is going to spend money in the county, which is going to put Gas City in a positive, or Grant County and Gas City in a positive order instead of what a lot of people from other counties look at. They're going to have an opportunity to visit this county, see an event that is a year-round event for film trips for school children to educate them. It's just got a lot more meaning than sitting there making zero at an old gravel pit.
But it's being farmed out, correct?
Well, they said they would cut those pieces out for the farm. farm out. You're talking the ground that's there. How much is being farmed out there? 30 acres?
Not sure.
If that.
You see what I'm saying? If you're saying just for a building, you got, I mean, guys, you should, you got that other property, you should know you're going to do a lot of work.
Oh, yeah, we are.
But if you get out there with the people, because I've been out there looking at it, you can do a lot of work and you have a spot pretty easy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying not give you access to garbage, I'm just saying, why so much?
And I'm just looking at the policy, where it's going to bring people into Grant County. We haven't had it come into Grant County, and they haven't looked at Grant County negatively. And now all of a sudden, we have an opportunity to bring a positive impact around the state and to also educate kids and to have field trips. I think it's nothing but a win for the county. It's a win for Gas City and anybody that visits our county at this point, especially with the negativity that's out there about our county.
Well, no, I agree with you, Mayor, but what I'm saying is, let's get some action going and, if we give you a right of way, then later on, if they need the rest of it, they can come back to you.
So, Councilman Spaulding, I can't tell you, it's $260 an acre is what the county's receiving for that. I'm not really sure how many acres that is.
Just an estimate of about 15 or 16.
15 or 16 acres, so it's not like it's a huge amount of money that we're making off the corn or beans or whatever they're planting there. And the money, I think, that would be spent out there during the whole time, I mean, we will see revenue off of some of that stuff. We will. And so whether it's not-for-profits buying the material that they need to, or not-for-profits, but other businesses that might want to set up out there, they're going to be paying sales tax. They're going to be paying their employees to work that out there. And so the money that we would receive off of those taxes will actually go towards us.
Well, I understand that, but
Yeah.
you could also look at it as you give them a right of way and you got all this other property, maybe somebody else would want to do something out there. So you're looking at it, you gotta look at it both ways. And what I'm saying is, I'm not against them, I understand. I donated money to that. I'm saying, why not just give them a right of way? Let them get going what they need to get going so they can operate. And then if they need more, nobody wants it, come back to you and do it again. I'm just saying, look out for the taxpayer too. Because you get more taxes, somebody else want to come along Garthway.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I don't know, transfer of property, does that go to a public hearing when we do that?
I believe it does.
So when that time comes up, we'll make sure it's posted, and anybody that wants to come forward and speak, we'll make sure they have the opportunity to do that. And appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Kane, I saw you slip in. Do you have something real quick for the good of the order?
So regarding the Estates of Serenity, I had a personal visit last week from the Attorney General's office. Inspector Singleton and Deputy Attorney General Matthew came in response to multiple complaints that I had investigated in my plea for help. So we drove the cemetery for an hour and 45 minutes, and they spent another 30 minutes in my office. They were appalled at the deplorable conditions, stating that it was one of the worst they'd ever seen, that has someone claiming ownership and also claims that they're doing the best of their building. The Deputy Attorney General stated that we have a definite cause and case for disciplinary action. They're going to fast track one onto the State Board of Cemetery and Funeral Services. However, this will only be a recommendation, and the board then must file it against the Marion Cemetery Corporation. Neither has the ability to convey the cemetery to the township. However, the board can assess astronomical fines, which both feel the corporation deserves at this point, as this is not the first time, but will be the third cause brought against them. Both Singleton and Matthew told me this was just to reinforce and strengthen my court claim that was filed in late September to Superior Court 2, and who does have the authority to convey the cemetery to the township. Both the corporation and his lawyer have been served with notice and have 20 days to respond. So I anticipate that before the end of the third week of this month. Brian Jeffrey, now the president of Marion Cemetery Corporation, has been offered both by myself and my lawyer a selling price of $50,000 or be hired as a staff member to help retain and maintain records. Neither offer was accepted. We tried to present an option to negotiate side of court proceedings, but have not been successful. I feel that he is holding out in a belief that the cemetery is worth his initial dollar amount, which was $200,000, it is not. Any appraisal is completed on anything that can be reformed, repurposed, and/or on undeveloped land. Thus, the only appraisal that can be done on a cemetery is unplotted land and building structures that are deemed personal property. In the cemetery's case, that is the 10 acres of land that do not have burial plots in the current office, which has roof damage, broken windows bordered by plywood, that probably a maximum of $60,000. I involved the DNR, Secretary of State, and the Attorney General's offices, who are all aware of this situation. This is not only a deep passion of mine to bring the cemetery back to its original stately and beautiful condition, it is also my civic responsibility to do so. When a citizen was walking the cemetery a few years ago, the volunteer working on the ground provided a tour that included the office, stating to let him know if this person was uncomfortable, but would like to show the remains of a house that are housed on a shelf in a closet. These remains were discovered upon digging a grave in anticipation of a funeral. Instead of closing the gravesite and asking the family to choose another site, the remains were removed since it was unknown who had previously been buried there and just stored on a shelf. Another citizen was told that if bones were found while digging their loved one's grave, not to worry, they just put the bones on top of the vault. This is one of the many reasons and situations besides the deplorable conditions of the cemetery that I began this endeavor and will see to the very end, that ending to be conveyed to the township, so the families of the 40,000 plus buried can be ensured proper care, consideration for the loved ones, and will be responded to with respect and dignity. With that being said, time is ticking, and I understand that. I'm coming before the commissioners to look at the legalities of the statutes and rules governing the ARP funds to ensure that the township can still receive funds. I believe that the state statutes I'm required to follow gives the commissioners ability to affirm the funding. State statute 23-14-68 applies to each cemetery, and here's copies. Is without funds for maintenance, was in existence, which the cemetery does not have funds. It was in existence before February 28, 1939. Is operated by a nonprofit organization or not managed by a viable organization. This chapter does not apply to cemetery located on land which property taxes are assessed. It is not assessed at the Marion Cemetery Association. The trustee of each township shall locate and maintain all the cemeteries described within. The maintenance of the cemetery includes the following: resetting, straightening all monuments, leveling the seeding ground, construction fences where there are none, repairing existing fences, destroying and cleaning up detrimental plants, noxious weeds, rank vegetation, mowing the lawn. The township shall appropriate enough money to provide for the care, repair, maintenance of each cemetery. A township trustee who fails to perform the trustee's duty commits a Class C felony. That gentleman to me gives me the ability to affirm the request ARP funding to the township for proper care of the cemetery, who has no funding to do so, pays no taxes, and is not managed appropriately. The cemetery's license is still in indefinitely suspension, as they have not provided full financial statements since 2018, and continues to be cited for lack of proper care as required by state statutes for anyone who has oversight of the cemetery. Take any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Appreciate your report.
Sheriff, we saved you best for last.
I'm just happy to be here.
We're glad to have you.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
All right, moving on. IT report. Do we have anybody from IT representing?
He says we're good.
All right. Mr. White.
Good morning.
Morning.
Update you on a few things. We did get started on 38th Street Bridge last Monday. We got the deck milled and the hydro done Monday and Tuesday. And they've already started taking the east side approach off to do the repair work underneath. So that project's moving along pretty good so far this week. So
How long is that going to be on?
said that they were hoping to get it open before Thanksgiving. So
It's a major bridge.
Yep. Hope to be State Road 9 is all I got.
Yeah, really. Isn't that the truth?
So, I do have some plow prices for our dump trucks. We did get both of our dump trucks in that we purchased last year. I have quotes from Kaleida Truck for $19,700 for one plow, and Clark Equipment for $18,998 for another per plow. I would like to purchase 4 plows total, and I'd like to purchase 2 from Clark Equipment. I really want the Kaleida ones because they're a better plow. But the only thing is they're a year out on build time, so I'd like to purchase 2 from Clark and 2 from Kaleida to pay for next year's budget, if that's all right. So
What was the name of the other? Clark and who?
Kaleida, K-A-L-I-D-E, or I'm sorry, D-A.
Any issues with Mr. White's request?
And you have the funds in your account to do so.
Yeah.
Do we need to make a motion on that?
You do.
Mr. President, I would move that we allow Mr. White to purchase up to 4 plows, snow plows, for his new dump trucks, 2 from Clark and 2 from Kaleida.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wright, second by Commissioner Barnsley. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're still wanting to do a few more paving projects with Brooks by the end of this year, hopefully here in the next couple of weeks. So we're working on that. We've started hauling stone, and I already prepaid for oil for making puck mix next year. That's like 5,000 tons. We've already started aside for that. So we've been hauling stone in because we have to make it our facility. And so we've been doing that. That's why you see my claim was a little high because I've already paid for the oil.
Notice that.
I guess the next request is I'm getting ready to call for federal aid projects again. And I'd like to put Bridge 712, which is Branson Street. I'd like to reapply for that again. I know we've had a contract with BF&S to start it, and they've kind of stopped since we didn't get selected last year. But I want to make sure it's all right. We keep on moving forward on that project.
And that's the one over Messinawall.
Yes. Yeah.
And the idea is to have less pylons.
Right. So the
Really?
trees don't get caught on it.
Really, that would be nice if there was a way to engineer that.
So I just want to make sure it's all right with you, gentlemen, if I reapply. I think the build date is probably 2030. But,
I think it's safe to say we fully support.
okay. The only other thing I had to bring up is I'm hoping to get the bridge inspection report sent in today to the state to select who our top consulting firm will be for that. So hopefully I'll get that submitted. That's all I have unless you guys have anything.
Nothing for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any word on the State Road Bridge, State Road 9 Bridge?
What I was told was their beams that they were waiting on were back ordered, and that's what took so long. So they've been starting, they got them in and they started putting them rebar on, so.
Okay.
Hopefully it says that online that it says it's still supposed to be completed by the end of November.
They were working Saturday.
Were they?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, I was gonna say, it still says online that it'll be open by the end of November, so that's all I can tell you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Did I miss anybody? We will move on to old business, ARPA discussion. So on Friday, October 4th, myself met with Mr. Middlesworth, Mr. Poling, Frank Hicks, Madam Auditor, and basically what we needed to do, we're under the gun on the ARPA spending. Everything has to be approved and entered into contracts by December 31st of this year. So we're getting to a point where there's a big sense of urgency. So what the committee decided upon, and we are presenting I'm presenting this to you gentlemen, $500,000 to the city of Marion for downtown light repair projects that's around the square. Councilman Middlesworth will work with Mayor Morrell on what that looks like. $250,000 to Mayor Morrell for repairs to the animal care and control building. Also, what we're doing is we've entered into an agreement with the animal care and control and Commissioner Wright, keep me honest here, for animal control services for the county. What was agreed upon was they will do it for $3,000 a month. So what we've decided to do is just to pay them out of ARPA funds for the next 10 years so that we don't have to worry about that. We're going to give Mayor Morrell a lump sum of $360,000. That covers us for the next 10 years. He's free to do with that whatever he would like. So that was decided upon. We'd originally talked about $50,000 for mold remediation at the D home. We are rescinding that, and instead the $50,000 will go to BW Construction for the scoping agreement that was previously discussed and approved. We will also rescind the $700,000 that we had set aside for the boiler chiller project at the D home. And instead, we're basically just going to take that and the rest of the funds, which amounts to $2,024,447.84 for the D home repairs and renovations. Now, I did want to address this with Mrs. Kane. It was decided that the $300,000 is not included in that plan right now, ma'am. But we have Mr. Poling here, and we did discuss that. And the reason for that is there's just a lot of concerns about the ownership, timelines. We have to have everything all taken care of and spent by December 31st. But what we talked about was in 2025, after December 31st, if you do get ownership of the cemetery, then the county will support you. We will find the $300,000 somewhere. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we did discuss that and that was agreed upon, correct?
Correct.
So, yes, yeah. So basically it won't come out of ARPA, but whenever all the legal ramblings and everything that you got going on, once that's all settled, come back to us and then we'll get with the commissioners, will work with the council on finding you the money.
One more thing, the sheriff was gonna buy $250,000 for sheriff cars on that, remember?
Was that, is that also, okay,
Yeah, $250 for the sheriff cars, that way we didn't have to buy the gas mask and that saves on the seat.
that is correct, that is correct. So do we have the right total then, Justin?
Yes.
Okay, so $250,000 for the sheriff's department for the cars. Colleagues, any questions, comments, concerns, questions for Mr. Poling? He was in that meeting with me on Friday. Councilman Middlesworth text, he's stuck in the field, so myself and Mr. Poling is representing that committee on Friday.
Yeah, I'm glad the $300,000 was committed to by the council. I mean, to me, I appreciate Ms. Kane, what all she's done.
Absolutely.
This has been a long, hard, drawn-out thing for her. I just wanted to make sure that we would have the funds to help that along. I mean, I truly believe that something needs to be done out there, and I appreciate her taking the bull by the horn and to really try to make that happen. So I appreciate the commitment, if you will, for that $300,000 to go towards this project.
Anything else, gentlemen?
I'll also address the animal control. Just letting everybody know, our cost was $1,500 a month that we had budgeted for this year, and has been for quite some time. And it was going to go double, and rightfully so. I mean, Marion's Animal Control takes care of the whole county. Some of the smaller communities, it's tough for them to come up with money to do that. So when you got a rabid dog or a deer that needs picked up out from a road or whatever, animal control handles all that. When I was on the city council, we were the ones who actually built that out there with the fact that we thought this would be good for the entire county. And but they're still using the same pickup trucks as we bought them back in 2007, I think it was, 2008. I mean, just not having the funds to do what they need to out there and stuff. So glad we've taken the action to go ahead and give that, as well as the $360,000 for the animal control, so that doesn't have to come out of taxpayers' money for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's a good move, very good move.
And you know, Mayor Morrell is matching the $250,000.
Yes, correct. Yep. So I think it's great for the entire county, not just Marion. This takes in the entire county, and that's what we're about.
Well, we've talked about if we didn't have this available to us.
Oh, what do you do?
I mean, it would just be
Yeah.
a giant.
And if you think
money
it's
pit.
24/7, 7 days a week that they're on call. And it would, I mean, if we could even find a contractor, I know Justin's taking a look at it. I mean, there just wasn't anybody out there to do this kind of work. So I appreciate Mayor Morrell stepping up and really taking that as well.
Yep.
So just a little bit of caveat there.
Anything else?
My assumption is that you would like us to blanket an approval so that it can be advertised and appropriated by the council. My one concern is, have we yet rescinded our previous expenses that were not approved? Have we done that yet?
And which one? Are you talking about the airport?
That's the airport and Mill Township, those things that were not appropriated. They're still in the spending plan, and we have to clean that up in case the feds do their, microscopic look at all this.
So that's something that we would do.
We need to do that. So I don't mind us going ahead and doing the appropriation type of process now, but we do need to come to a finalized list, purge anything that needs to be off the record, lest the feds go, you've got more spent money on here than what we gave you, what's going on. And just for clerical purposes, we need to clean house. So
So we can approve this today, and then next meeting, then we can come back with the list of the items that was not.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just need to clean that up.
Yep, I would agree.
Does that make sense to you?
That's perfectly fine as long as you approve.
Okay.
Yeah, and Mr. Satoff, you can get that list for us probably of the things that we have approved that got either turned down or.
I think we have it.
it was just the two items.
I think it was just two. I don't think we've sent anything else over that the council hasn't appropriated.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, I'll get that.
Yeah, just to make sure, I 100% agree with that.
Yep. There's no other questions or discussion. I'll entertain a motion to approve the ARPA spending plan as I originally presented with the 250,000 on there for the sheriff's cars.
I would so move.
With all we've discussed and all that's been supported by the council that has been a part of the committee, I appreciate that, and I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Wright, second by Commissioner Barsley to approve the ARPA spending plan as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is approved. Thank you, Chuck. Yep, appreciate you. All right, new business, finally. Usage permission request, walkway of lights. You want to take that?
Oh, yeah.
Commissioner Wright?
Ms. Cadena, who is kind of our lead on the walkway of lights. I sit on the committee. Each year we come and request usage for electricity at the courthouse for the displays around the courthouse for the Christmas time frame. And so it's hard to believe that's already here. It's coming up a week before Thanksgiving. That's when they light up, and then it'll be all the way up till December 31st. So just one usage of electricity during that time. Also, again, we work with the state to make sure we can go ahead and shut down State Road 18, which is always a fun time, for about an hour to an hour and a half while the parade goes through. So just letting you know that that's going to take place the weekend, the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So we're just requesting the usage and permission, and I'll abstain from the since I'm on the board.
Okay.
I would move to approve the usage permit for walkway of lights and continue to support them as we have in the past.
I second that motion. Any other questions, discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And I'll abstain.
Any opposed? We have one abstained. Ratification of GIS data release record request. I give a pre-approval on October 2nd to AT&T was needing data from GIS. I give a pre-approval on October 2nd for that. Is there any questions or discussion on that?
No, I would move to approve the ratification of that release of data.
Supported.
Motion by Commissioner Barsley, second by Commissioner Wright. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ratification of ambulance lease agreement. Mr. Sadoff, keep me honest on this. All we're doing is we have a lease agreement with Marion Health. And all we're doing is extending that until the end of the year, December 31st. No other change. There's no other changes that I saw in this.
No, pre-approval was given October.
Thank you.
Now, I'll speak to this just a little bit because I've been heavily involved in this one as well and all the meetings and things. I know our EMS is taking a look at boundary levels and things like that with the hospital at this point. With their new hospital over in Gas City, they're really kind of taking a look and seeing where we need ambulances at and how we can best serve the customers or citizens, I should say, of Grant County. And so this is just kind of to help them out. They've had a lot of problems with vehicles, whether it's been in accidents or even one blowing up that only had 8,000 miles on it, the engine gave away. So they've had their fair share of problems, and they are our go-to when it comes to delivery of any emergency type thing. So appreciate them and what they do for our community, and this agreement just extends out what we've already been doing with them for the past year.
Been close.
It'll be easily over a year.
Close to a year.
If this new one goes to the end of the year.
Yeah. And if everyone remembers correctly, when we ordered our ambulances, it took them 2 years to get us our ambulances, and they're going through the same problem with that. So again, good partnership with the hospital and the county.
Anything else, gentlemen?
So if Chair's ready for a motion, I would move that we ratify the ambulance lease agreement with Marion Health.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wright, second by Commissioner Bardsley to approve the ratification of the ambulance lease agreement with Marion Health. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Aye, please.
You knew I did eventually.
I knew it. I knew it was coming. It is approved. All right, we will move on to public comment. At this time, the public is invited to speak before the board. Please approach the podium when recognized by the president. State your name, address, concerns, or comments. No complaints, accusations, or name calling regarding personnel can be allowed during this public discussion time. A time limit of 3 minutes will be given. If more than one person is representing for a group, only one spokesperson will be heard. As always, it is expected that professionalism and courtesy be displayed at all times during the public comments portion of this meeting. Anybody wish to speak? Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
Hello, Mr. President,
Good morning.
Commissioners. My name is Jamie Pitt. Address, right?
Yes, ma'am.
118 West 2nd Street in Fairmount.
Thank you.
I am the new director of the Marion Public Library. I'm simply here to introduce myself. I'm a longtime resident of Grant County. I grew up in Fairmount, went to Madison Grant, got my undergrad at Indiana Wesleyan. I was a librarian there for 20 years. And I have just moved in April over to the Marion Public Library, where I am very excited to serve the community, partner with different organizations, just be involved in the education of our whole community. Not only kids, but families, adults. I'm very excited with what the United Way is doing with early literacy. They have gathered 15 organizations across the county to work on early literacy. I'm very excited to be a part of that and just want to collaborate with any community organization who would like to partner with the library. So that's all. I don't know if you have any questions for me. I do have a board seat coming up that I would like approval for soon. So that would start in January. But I just wanted to come and introduce myself, and if you have any questions for me.
How's your new career been going? You said since April, you've been in the position since April?
Yes.
I don't expect you to say, oh, it's terrible. I understand that, but just any challenges?
I love libraries. Public libraries are very, very different, right? Because you're serving the community, but you're also managing the community's money, correct? And we want to do that wisely and with care. So, and I have become very familiar with the DLGF, which we did not have at the university. So, and I think anyone who has dealt with them knows it's been a learning curve. So we have to account for every single dollar. But I love serving at the public library. It's really a chance to engage and collaborate with a lot of different organizations, and I love that.
So as far as, I believe, I know I'm speaking for myself, possibly the other commissioners as well, you know the people that would be good to recommend for your board. We don't necessarily know those people. And so any kind of recommendation that comes from the director of the library swings a lot of weight. And so I guess the challenge would be back, to you to find someone that you feel is a good board member down in your area. And not necessarily a yes person, no person, or anything like that, but yet to give good solid advice for the board or for the library itself. That's probably the best way to go about that. Didn't know if you were aware of that or not. But
So I've been having discussions with various individuals,
awesome.
And then I'll probably be back in November or December to make a recommendation.
I think she usually does that in the form of a letter to the commissioners, Justin, is that correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, so once you come up with a final candidate, just type up a letter and.
And it will be publicized, right, Justin? That it'd be part of our agenda, right? And so if somebody wants to speak for or against that, they can come.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, anything else?
I guess that,
No, congratulations, welcome.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to this area.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? All right, seeing none. Okay.
I just want to say thank you for your commitment because that's a huge chunk of money not to be able to put in a budget to decide what projects need to be hit first and how to maintain it. And it gives me pleasure to be able to move forward. And I'm excited about this and I'm going to do it. I've been determined to do it and I'm going to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To piggyback on what Commissioner Rice said, we greatly appreciate your service and, for lack of a better term, taking the bull by the horns on this. So, thank you. All right, the next commissioners meeting will be Monday, October 21st at 10 a.m. and we are in recess.